Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the WorryFree Retirement, with your host, the author of 4 books on retirement and offices in Bowling Green and Louisville, Kentucky, the money missionary himself, Tony Walker.
Welcome to the WorryFree Retirement. I am Tony Walker, your host for about the next 28 minutes or so, and with us in the Louisville studio is our very own favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orander, and actually an old crony of mine from years gone by that's coming in doing some consulting, Morgan Mead. You may have remembered Morgan. In fact, roll some B-roll here, Aaron. This was the old Granddad's Retirement. Say Goodbye to Granddad's Retirement documentary that me and Morgan put together years ago, so it's good to have Morgan in the studio as well. Well, I want to talk about an episode. We're talking about annuities today, but I want to talk about an episode, not a TV episode, but an episode that occurred to me several weeks ago with one of my clients who actually came in for just a normal review of their situation and shared with me that they had recently attended a dinner seminar on retirement. Now, remember, I've warned you before, when you go to these dinner seminars, that's all perfectly well and good, or any educational workshop, whether it's at a hotel or university, it doesn't really matter. Eventually, 99.9% of the time, these folks at these dinner seminars or educational workshops are going to eventually get around to talking about the subject of annuities. Now, of course, you know, there's nothing wrong with annuities. I love annuities, and we do a lot of annuities at Tony Walker Financial. So obviously, I'm a big fan of annuities. So let's get that straight. But there basically is something inherently wrong. In fact, sometimes I'm seeing this, as we're going to see in the next segment, with many of these people that are basically just unethical in the way they are presenting annuities. Years ago, it reminds me, I was asked to speak at a pretty large conference of about 500 advisors on this very topic. And this was a large insurance company, and they were dealing a lot of different financial topics and annuities and everything else. And they said, Tony, you got 20 minutes. What would you like to talk about to this group of 500 or so advisors? And I said, well, I got a good title for you. The title of my talk is going to be, Are You Unethical or Are You Ignorant? And the point with all this is trying to help people understand who are advisors is you're going to fall into one of two camps if you don't know what you're talking about. Either you're going to come across as unethical, or you'll have to admit that you're simply ignorant on the subject. So what I was basically trying to share with these advisors at this conference is when you start selling annuities, remember annuities are contracts. These annuities are getting more and more popular, so we're seeing more and more annuities being sold. So when you see annuities, whether you're an advisor or client or consumer, it's important to learn first exactly how annuities are structured. What in the heck are these things? How do insurance companies price them? Are there fees associated with them? And more importantly, for the consumers out there who are trying to understand what we would call the rate of return, you know, like a CD, for instance, makes 2% or whatever it makes, that's called the rate of return. Well, how do you determine what an annuity makes? And with some of today's annuities paying as high as 8%, folks, there's a catch there. And we're going to explain that in the next segment. So you have to understand the difference between what I'm going to discuss in the next segment, these 3 very important values, all right? So Aaron, let's kind of put these up beside me because this is what we're going to be covering in the next segment in a lot of details. Probably going to be kind of boring stuff, folks, but believe me, very, very important stuff. So the first value we're going to be talking about in the next segment that you've got to understand is something called the surrender value. The surrender value. The second value of any annuity contract is what's called the contract value. And then finally, this is a newer value. Years ago, these weren't even around, but they are called income riders, which then creates the third of value, which is called an income account value. Now, we go back to my client who recently attended one of these dinner seminars. Anyway, this advisor, according to my client, she wanted to go over all of her investments. And of course, he got around to talking about annuities. So she shared with me, Tony, I want to tell you about an annuity that this gentleman talked to me about after I had this steak dinner. And so in the meantime, I said, well, what's the bottom line to this annuity? What did they tell you is guaranteed? And she said, okay, this person said that no matter what happens, whether I take income or whether I take the money out down the road lump sum, I'm guaranteed to get 3% no matter what. And I said, you got to be kidding me. Now, is this a fixed indexed annuity? And she said, yes, fixed index annuity guaranteed at 3%. To which I replied, ma'am, if I had a product like that, if anybody had a product like that in this day and time, I wouldn't be able to have time to see everybody. There'd be people lined out my door. It'd look like a Who concert or something trying to get in. But she said, no, I went back and talked to them in detail, and they said 3%. So here we go. We're back into the throes of trying to determine if this advisor is unethical or ignorant, to which I would reply, probably not ignorant. I've got to assume it's more on the unethical side because apparently this person's been doing this a long time. So here's what I'm going to do. Again, very, very important stuff. If you own an annuity or if you've been thinking about an annuity, you'll want to understand these three different values I'm going to cover on the whiteboard. Remember, we're going to be talking about surrender value, contract value, and income value. And if you think the devil in the details is somewhere else, folks, it's buried right in these three account values. But don't despair. I'll be right back. I'm going to explain this to you. I'm going to get the whiteboard out. You're watching the WorryFree Retirement. I'll be right back. Ever wonder how advisors make money? Hi, I'm registered investment advisor Tony Walker, and for years, advisors representing Wall Street have convinced you that fees are better than paying commissions. Well, no wonder. Look at this example of an advisor charging 1.5% per year on your money. Wow, they've made a lot of money whether you did or not. If you feel like everybody's making more money on your money than you are, schedule an appointment with me today. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Welcome to Your Money Minute with the author and creator of The Worry-Free Retirement, Tony Walker.
Tony, I know you're a very conservative advisor. You have concerns about the stock market telling people that they're going to be making all this money in returns, and they're really not. I look at my statement and I realize I'm not making much. So why is that?
Well, I'll work with savers, Angie, and what concerns me, while the stock market can certainly make a lot of money, when you get into retirement planning, and a lot of people are told they've got to continue to take risk, I just don't buy it. A lot of my clients are not taking a lot of risk. They don't have a lot of this money in the stock market. And we can create income plans that can make sure that they have plenty of money in retirement and they don't run out of money in retirement. And more importantly, they're not putting all this money at risk. So no, you don't have to have all your money in the stock market.
Thanks, Tony. If you're looking to safeguard your money, log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com for your personal appointment.
This has been Your Money Minute with Tony Walker.
Welcome back to the WorryFree Retirement. I'm sitting here looking at Investment News Magazine about all this Department of Labor ruling. We'll be getting into this next week. Again, speaking of boring stuff, but this is stuff that we have to cover. So next week you're going to want to stay tuned. But right now, we're going to cover the three basic tenets of an annuity. If you're just now joining us, we were talking about one of my clients who had been to a recent dinner seminar and then visited with an agent who basically provided some very unethical advice. So I want to make sure that as these annuities explode in popularity, mainly the fixed indexed annuity variety, which is really becoming the hot topic, something we've done over 2,000 of these since 9/11, so we're pretty well versed in them. But I want to make sure you simply understand what I call the three account values of an annuity. So let's go to the whiteboard, and let's start off with the first value, and I'll try to go through this very slowly, but we have what's called the surrender value. The second value that we have to deal with any annuity is what's called the contract value. And then really as of about the last 7 or 8 years, the brand new value that's really kind of disturbing how much confusion is over this particular value and how to calculate it, that is called the income account value. Income account. So again, we have surrender value, contract value, and income value. So you say, well, Tony, why would the annuity have three values? Well, first of all, let's back up and understand who's behind the annuity, and that is the insurance company. So with any, well, let's just imagine this is a fixed indexed annuity, okay? So with any fixed indexed annuity, it is issued by an insurance company, and the insurance company, now listen very closely because this will start making a lot of common sense if you can put two and two together here. The insurance company is invested in very, very secure bonds, government bonds, high yield bonds, treasuries. These are very safe investments backing the annuity because the insurance company has got to guarantee that they make these payments for the rest of your life. I call it mailbox money. So they can't be invested in real highfalutin stocks and mutual funds. That's why variable annuities do that. Fixed indexed annuities are investing in very safe assets. And you might say, well, Tony, I've heard these things go up when the market goes up, but they don't go down. Well, therein lies the confusion. They can go up with the market, but it's just a percentage of the market. And this is what I'm going to show you where we had some unethical behavior on this recently with one of my clients. So let's start off and imagine that we have $100,000. And again, I'm going to use just ballpark figures, so don't hold me to these. I'm just trying to show you conceptually what the insurance company is doing. They're going to take that $100,000 and they're going to invest that in their portfolio of bonds, and they're going to hope under current interest rates they make about 4%, 4 to 4.5% on your money currently. Now, what they do is they take about 2% off the top to cover all their expenses. They factor in just running of their home offices, setting up reserves. They have to set up a lot of money for reserves. They have to pay agents, advisors like me to sell these products. So you're only really having about 2% of that money that's invested in the market. So listen closely there. The contract value technically is only allocated about 2% to that. Now, what they're doing is they're buying options in the stock market. So you say, well, Tony, does that mean I get a guaranteed 2%? No. What that means is they take the 2% return on your money and you are electing to have them buy stock options. So what that means is if the market goes up, you could actually make a little more than 2%, but if the market goes down, you can't lose anything, but you may not make anything. Again, hang with me. I'm going to show you the part that one of my clients saw that was really disturbing. So whenever you see contract value with a fixed indexed annuity, there is no guarantee necessarily, some contracts guarantee a small amount, that you're going to make any money under what's the contract value, okay? And you say, why is all this important? What is that contract value for? This is the amount of money that you can take 10% penalty-free withdrawal out of, and at death, the amount of money that will go to your beneficiaries, okay? So that's what we call the contract value. Now let's slide over here a minute and you say, well, Tony, why is that surrender value there? What does that mean? Well, remember when I said the insurance companies have to take a lot of money and set up reserves and they have to pay out commissions? This is the amount of money if you cancel the contract during a term, and that term can be anywhere from 5 to 16 years. Obviously, the longer the term, the better the contract's going to be worded and you're in favor because the insurance company knows they've got your money locked up longer. The shorter the term of the contract means you won't get as good of benefits, but you'll still get good benefits. So a surrender value doesn't come into place, again, unless you cancel the contract during its term. But let's say after the first year you have a stroke of bad luck. This is why we don't put 100% of your money in annuities. You don't think you're going to need it. Maybe a family member has an emergency, you have a health crisis, and the next year you need money. Well, they may only pay you $90,000 of your 100. In other words, they took a $10,000 surrender penalty. This could happen. Again, this is why you better think twice before putting all your money in an annuity, because there are surrender charges involved during the term. Now finally, the most important value for income planning, or what I call it the Mailbox Money account. Okay, Mailbox Money, circle R. We had to remind somebody the other day, my attorney had to send a letter. That is a trademark term, folks. You can't use that. But I call that Mailbox Money. The definition of that is guaranteed income you can never outlive. Now, currently, the highest income rider out there is 8% on a simple interest basis. And you say, whoa, man. Now this is where it gets pretty unethical. Many people, many annuity peddlers will sell this as 8% and say, I can get you 8% on your money. Now, is that true? Yeah, it's kind of true, but there's a huge catch. The only way you can get that money out is if you agree to income. Well, I reminded you, you can't take withdrawals out of here. It's at death, it doesn't go to anybody. So again, the income account value, you've got to be careful of that. That is the amount of money that's used to calculate future income. If you don't ever take income or your spouse doesn't take income at your death, this value goes away. I know some of you are sitting there going, what are you talking about? It goes away. They didn't tell me that. I bought one of these things last week, Tony. Okay, this is only for income. Think about it logically, folks. We already said the insurance company's only making about 2% on your money. They can't pay you 8% on 2%. Come on now. Wake up a little bit here. If they're only making 2%, the reason they can pay you 8 is, number one, some people will never use that rider. They'll die before they ever use it. Some people won't live that long, so they might draw income, but when they die, it stops. And then the few people that do get a huge benefit from it, fine. That's what I've got. That's why I've got one of these, because I don't want to outlive my money. So I'm transferring the risk. I'm willing to maybe get this, maybe I won't, but if I do need it, I know I've got it for the rest of my life. And finally, so where is the whole rub here, Tony? Where did this whole unethical thing come up? There's a contract out there, and I'm not going to name the company. It's actually a pretty good contract, and they're unique. What they say is, because by the way, I meant to mention this, there is a fee for these income riders, and you got to know how they charge that too. That gets very complicated. Talking about the devil in the details, trying to figure that out. We can figure that out for you, but a lot of misconceptions on how they charge fees. But there's a company out there now, and I'll try to write it here if I've got room, Aaron. And this is what, I'll just call him the unethical advisor, told my client. My client actually took a snapshot of this on the whiteboard because I didn't believe it, and they said, well, I took a picture of it. They told this person, now remember, the insurance company's only making about 2% right now. They told this person that the income rider pays 3% at no fee, which is a correct assumption. That is correct. And they also told them no matter what, you'll get 3% on the contract side. So, Aaron, I know you're sitting here in the studio. If an insurance company's making 2% on your money, and they're going to guarantee you 3%, are they going to be in business very long, Aaron, if they do that? Now, Aaron's a pretty sharp cookie. He's been around this stuff. No. So, folks, here's kind of the warning shot over the bow I'm throwing at you. If you hear anything above 2%, you have to ask this question. Is that guaranteed? If the amount is up in this 5, 6, 7, 8% range, you have to understand that is what we call an income rider. And then the quiz on that is, if it's an income rider, make sure you understand that that is only for income purposes. At your death, other than your spouse, that income is not going to go to anybody else. So always understand the 3 values. Make sure that your advisor is explaining these in full detail. And please, please, just like our client, if you are talking to anybody about annuities and you want a second opinion, please consider talking to us. There's no cost or obligation. We've been doing annuities longer than most people even knew how to spell annuity. We understand these products very, very well. We'll make sure that you understand the difference in these 3 values. Incidentally, let's put this up full screen, Aaron. This is a great little booklet I wrote. It's called the Annuity Decision Guide for Savers. Absolutely free. Even if you already own an annuity, folks, this would behoove you to order this booklet. Again, it's absolutely free. To get one, just go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com. You're going to click on the annuity icon and order that free annuity decision guide. You'll be glad you did. In the meantime, again, if you'd like to meet in person to discuss your situation for a free assessment, maybe you've got a 401k that needs to be rolled over, you're nearing retirement, you want to see our income planning strategies that we use, maybe if you're wanting to do some tax planning. You know, we haven't talked in a while because we've been dealing with the devil in the details, but we haven't talked in a while about that infamous tax tumor that many of you have buried in your retirement accounts. Get a game plan now to try to deal with it. Don't put off the pain. Let's try to see if we can minimize those taxes on your retirement planning. Again, to meet with me in person or contact me, just go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. We'll be happy to take advantage of that and meet with you. All right, when I come back, you know I'm going to be talking about the Bible, right? And you know the Bible has a few things to say about the devil in the details. We're going to talk about that, but first, I got to get me a cup of coffee. You're watching the WorryFree Retirement. You stay tuned. I'll be right back.
Welcome to Your Money Minute with the author and creator of The WorryFree Retirement, Tony Walker.
Tony, you talk to people about having a game plan as opposed to a bunch of investments. Talk to me about that.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up. Today, someone came in and they were thinking about retirement and they wanted me to look at their investments. So here you go. This person had one IRA, a second IRA, a non-qualified account, bank accounts, and then finally their 401k plan. Now, done a great job saving, but they have no game plan to use and enjoy all this money they've taken so long to create. So what I told this person is, let me take this, we'll get it organized, we'll take it through our 5-step process, and then we'll have a second appointment, and what I'm going to show them is how to use and enjoy and protect that money for the rest of their life. Now that's a game plan you can count on.
Thanks, Tony. To set up a personal appointment with Tony to talk about your game plan, log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
This has been your Money Minute with Tony Walker.
Because of recent government regulations, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce predicts that over 7 million smaller investors may no longer receive the personal service from their advisor that they are accustomed to. I'm fiduciary Tony Walker, and regardless of whether you have $5,000 or $5 million to invest, we are here to serve you. In fact, let's meet soon to talk about our newest investment program utilizing Charles Schwab as your custodian. There is no minimum account size to work with us. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. All right, good cup of coffee. I about forgot my cup of coffee the first segment. Why weren't you paying attention, Aaron? I mean, I pay you the big bucks for stuff like this. Come on now. Well, I hope you've been enjoying these past few shows with our theme, The Devil is in the Details. Now, my hope has been that you will understand the importance of looking into the details of any investment before leaping in, just like we just covered the 3 different account values of annuities and why it's so imperative that you understand the difference between those 3. So, as we always do on the show, I wanted to save just a few minutes at the very end of the show for what the Bible has to say about the details of the devil and why he is so masterful at taking us off our game. And more importantly, his goal of focusing our attention on the things of the world instead of the things of our Father. Now, in his masterful book, Watchman Nee, it's called Love Not the World, Nee provides some insight and simplicity to this subject of the opposition that the devil has to God. Now, he boils it down by saying that the things of this world that so often distract us from our relationship to God fall in the following categories. And let's look at these. This is really good stuff. First of all, we have the category of politics, education, literature, science, art, law, music, and then, of course, my personal favorite, commerce or money. So what we have here is we've got these various categories, and what Nee is reminding us of is these categories represent the real world. This is the world's system. Now, one of these, in and of themselves, cannot provide any eternal benefits. It doesn't matter how much you focus on them. It doesn't matter how much you study them. It doesn't matter how much you learn about them. So we must admit that these categories, which there's nothing inherently bad in any of them, are not really from God at all. However, when we're in the world and we have to interact with all these different categories, we have to ask ourselves as a follower of Christ, am I not commanded to run from them? No, we're not supposed to run from them. That's what a lot of people tell you to do. Don't touch that stuff. That's dangerous. Well, if you did that, you'd have to be a monk. Folks, you have to face the reality. These are things of the world. What we're hoping will happen is, whether it's me and money or you and literature or politics, man, we can't get enough politics, right? I mean, all you got to do is turn on the news and this stuff will wear you out. And unfortunately, sometimes just the consumption of it can overtake you. It can affect your relationship with the Father. This is what we were talking about with being a follower of Christ. Now, when I'm dealing with money or trying to assist others with money, here's what I'm constantly asking myself, and this is my point here. I have to say, Tony, is what you are doing for this person really in their best interest? Or does what you're doing for this person honor God? So the only way to know whether this is something of the God or of the devil is, do I have peace about this matter that I'm dealing with? And Paul describes this peace as a peace that surpasses understanding. It's not a peace of this world. So we can have peace in dealing in any of those categories, but it's not the peace of God that we talk about, especially as, let's go over to John here real quick. Aaron, I know we're limited on time. Let's go to John 16:33. Put this scripture up there, Aaron. Good stuff here. He says in John 16:33, these things I have spoken to you, that in me, he didn't say the world, see, in me you will have peace. He says in the world you'll have what? Tribulation. But he reminds us to take courage because he has overcome the world. So folks, Jesus isn't saying again that we have overcome the world. He's saying that he has. So we have confidence, if we're in Christ, that this finished work is done. Now, John 18:36, let's flip over there, Aaron, 18:36. He ends that verse finally with, my kingdom is not of this realm. And you say, Tony, what realm? The same realm we just commented on with those various categories. That's the realm of the world, the realm that we must interact in, the realm that we can't let get the best of us, but on the other hand, we still have to be realistic and deal with those realms, okay? So finally, let's go to John 14:30, because you say, well, Tony, where's the devil come into this? When's Jesus talk about him? We have to go back to 14:30, and he says, I will not speak much more with you, for the ruler of the world is coming, and he is nothing in me. So my goal is to try to help my clients minimize or reduce their worry. And what I've seen, even in my own life, folks, is the vast majority of our worries are focused on things that will end anyway. They're temporary tribulations. My wife, who's an oncology nurse, she sees it all the time with cancer. We had some friends lose a child recently. I've had people lose money. I've had people lose their job, become disabled. Apparently we're in a crisis with Russia. Anything you can imagine, all of these things we worry about are temporary. And finally we go, because Paul reminds us of this, let's go over, Aaron, to 2 Corinthians 4:17 and 18. Very, very famous verses, but ties in perfectly with what we're talking about. Paul reminds us these things of the world are light afflictions. But on the other hand, they're producing for us a way to glory far beyond all comparison. In other words, Paul said one day the glory of God's going to make these things on earth seem trivial. And that is the important thing about the Worry-Free Retirement. And that's the basis of my faith. And then you have to understand, as an advisor, that's the basis of my advice for you. So what about you? Do you feel like, as we think about the financial world, that they're creating actually more worry than they're actually helping you with? Are you maybe concerned that the financial world seems to be making money on your money all the while you're not going anywhere with your money? How about this? Maybe you just need a safe and simple game plan to protect your hard-earned money. Well, if that's you, let's talk. There's absolutely no cost or obligation for a free assessment of your situation. All you got to do is log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. That's TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Lots of stuff on the website. Incidentally, we've created a YouTube channel, and we've got all kinds of instructional video, past shows, lots of information on YouTube. Check us out on Facebook as well. And of course, if you don't have access to the internet, there are a few people out there that don't, or they don't want to use the internet anymore. That's all right. Put the toll-free number up there, Aaron. It's 877-499-WALK. We'll look forward to hearing from you. We'll see you next week on the Worry-Free Retirement. And you remember, in the meantime, if all else fails, you be worry-free.
Thank you for watching the Worry-Free Retirement with Tony Walker. If you need a safe and simple game plan for your retirement, log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and schedule a free, no-obligation meeting with Tony.